Hello, welcome to InSight. I'm Wendy Brokaw. Homelessness has many causes, but one, substance addiction, has real barriers for those who are addicted, seek treatment, and also need a place to recover safely. Oregon has one of the highest rates of addiction in the country, along with low availability of treatment options. Key to success? Time, safety, support, which Soaring Heights Recovery Homes provides. Why is it they call their transition homes houses of hope? Well, here to talk with us about Soaring Heights are founders Eric and Victoria Rasor. Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
When and how did you get the idea of coming up with Soaring Heights?
I'll let you take that one.
How long have you been in business here?
So we opened up our first house in 2018, September of 2018, so almost 6 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Although the vision and the dream started around 2016. I used to work in the field. I used to work for Marion County Health and Human Services, and I used to work with individuals that were working with medicated assisted treatment for their opioids addiction, and I would come home to him for a couple years because I was really struggling to house the individuals that I was working with, my clients, because there was a lot of stigma back then about methadone, Suboxone, or Subutex being still a drug. So a lot of housing opportunities would not allow individuals into the homes. So for almost 2 years, I'd come home to Eric and I would say, we need to open up a MAT house, medicated assisted treatment. And by the grace of God, on July, I think it was, of 2018,
Yep.
You can go from there.
Just a house got presented to us. I was actually sent over there to let the owner know what it was going to take to sell the house. Walked through it and called her up immediately and said, you got to see this house. It just happened to be perfectly set up to do what we were trying to accomplish. I went back to the owner and said, hey, can you lease it to me for a couple of years until I can get the money to pay for it? And that's really kind of how it took off. We just, all the information we had to start a transitional housing was sitting up on a shelf collecting dust, and we would just kind of put it on the back burner until that day.
And it was in a neighborhood, and you had already a way of sort of making it easier for people in the neighborhood to understand what you're about.
Yes, we had a conversation with all the neighbors before we even put anybody in there, and we explained to them what we were doing, how we were going to operate it, and how we were going to maintain the safety of the neighborhood and keep this as a well-run, safe property in their neighborhood.
I'm really curious to know if they asked you any questions so to reassure themselves.
There was a couple of the neighbors that welcomed us with open arms. And they said, God bless, thank you for what you're doing. There was a couple more that were a little bit more apprehensive because of the nature of the individuals that they knew were going to be coming to that house. They did ask a few questions, but it was really kind of a wait and see how it goes. You know, we've been in that house for almost 6 years now, and the neighbors, we've got great relationships with all of them because they see that we are really well structured housing, and we really monitor what's going on there.
And you now have 3 houses.
We have 3 and looking for the 4th right now.
Yeah.
What makes you so able to connect with those you serve?
Well, I'm in recovery. I will have 19 years of sobriety on November 25th of this year. So I have like 18 years, 8 months, I don't know, something like that. I was out there for a long time. I started using at the age of 13, and I was 42 when I got clean and sober. So I did a lot of, years in addiction. I know what I learned from being in recovery and from years of addiction and the trauma and abuse and all that it's not, I didn't wake up one day and just say, hey, I want to go do drugs for the rest of my life. It's not what happens. It is such a multitude of different things for every individual, and I started going to school. I started working in the field. Started up in Portland and then came down here to Marion County, worked with DHS for a while, and then with Marion County Health and Human Services. And through all that, I learned, not only the understanding of what drugs do to our brain, but also the trauma and all that. And I just, like I said, the whole incident of not being able to house people, because they're on something that will give them the opportunity to become or to get recovery, because opioids are one of the hardest and the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Hard to come off of. It was not my drug of choice, but I know that, from working with clients, opioids are the hardest to come off of. There's a lot of physical, mental, and emotional, plus, just the triggers and, addiction in general. But I wanted to give back, and the housing just happened to be part of what we could do. And
Yeah.
I wanted it structured. I wanted to be able to bring children home, because I myself had a DHS case, and I know how important it was, but I also knew how important it was to have the wraparound services, and that's what we have with our community partners. We are very connected to all of our community partners, from probation and parole, LEAD, which is law enforcement
Assisted diversion.
and then to, Department of Human Services, Child Welfare, probation and parole, so that all the treatment facilities, everywhere. So we stay connected.
You make it clear that you yourselves are not in treatment business. You don't provide treatment.
No, we do not. Yeah, and my story is similar to hers. I struggled with addiction for about 30 years. My path always led me to prison. The first time they sent me to prison was back in '89. I was in there for 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. My life turned around about 17 years ago when my daughter was born. I was getting arrested again. I was handcuffed, and I saw some stranger coming out of the house with my 6-month-old daughter in their arms, and I just made a decision that I was going to raise my daughter differently than I was raised, and I've had custody of her ever since. She's 17.
Almost 18.
Almost
17
18.
and a half.
Yep. So, yeah.
How you were raised?
Yes, I was raised in a broken family. My parents were both alcoholics, and it was so.
You broke the cycle.
Yeah, we're breaking the cycle. We like to say that we've gone from walking in the shoes of the people we serve to walking alongside them.
Yeah.
So.
Could you tell us a little bit about each of your homes? What do you call them? They're after birds.
They're
Yes.
after birds. So the first one was the Oriole House, the one that we opened in 2018, and it houses 8 women with or without children. And in 2020, we opened up the Men's House,
The Falcon House.
and it houses 5 men with or without children. And then last year, we opened up the Robin's Nest, which houses 7 women with or without children. So the 2 women's houses are in Kaiser, and the men's house is in Southeast Salem. So a total of 20 beds.
It's really about the symbolism, the strengths of the birds. That you can look them up. I don't got them memorized right now, but yeah, it's based on the symbolism, strength and hope and things like that.
Houses of hope, you call them.
Yes, we do. Yes, hope of a new life.
What do these houses individually provide?
So it's not just a roof over your head, okay, because that can come almost anywhere. We provide safe, secure, structured housing, accountability. So we do require random UAs, which are urine analysis. We also require, recovery. It's about recovery. So sobriety is the key for long-lasting, lifetime of not getting back into the drugs. But we also work with, like I said, all of our community partners, because like I said, nobody wakes up just says, I want to go do drugs. There's a lot of factors to that. So we work with the individuals on a one-on-one basis of, what do you need? What kind of barriers? What kind of fines do you owe? Where do you need to go to counseling? Whatever that might look like. We do ask for a shared living expense, so they have to be working. You have to be doing something. So there are guidelines and expectations in the home. They have a chore every day. When they first move in, there's what we call a 30-day centering in, where they have to do 30 meetings a day, every day, for 30 days. We ask that they get a sponsor within 5 months. They have a curfew.
So you could kind of 10,000-foot view. We have 3 primary goals: stay clean and sober, develop a recovery support system, find gainful employment if you're able to work to become, functioning member of society to sustain yourself, and family reunification. Like she mentioned earlier, she had a DHS case, so did I. So we're really focused on getting children returned to parent. And we can say today, over the last 6 years, we've had over 40 children returned to parent in our homes.
40 children?
Over 40.
Close to 50, yeah.
Over 40.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something that we're especially proud of, because that's really near and dear to both our hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, you must have stories about that in your that you think
Oh,
about
many.
all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time.
A lot of stories,
Many.
yes, and
Too
yeah,
many.
yeah,
Because it's a long journey before that moment, before that time when
Well,
we.
yeah.
And a lot of times, individuals that are in their addiction, they probably didn't have a very good understanding of what parenting looked like already. So then they become parents and they're in their addiction, and then they get clean and sober. And I know I'm speaking for my own self here. I didn't know how to parent a child. I didn't even know how to connect with my children. I didn't know the simplest thing as sitting down with them and just being present. Because I didn't know how to have that connection, because it was never given to me. So I would always just give them stuff to kind of, what's that word I'm looking for?
Pacify them.
Pacify them, until I got clean and sober, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with, my 2.5-year-old kid. What do I do? And it was so simple. Just sit with them, put some blocks together, and before you know it, so simple, but yet so difficult when you don't know. So difficult.
You have something that you call a social model of recovery. That sounds like what you're talking about here.
Yes, and that's really basically what it is. We had because my memory doesn't work very well, it just emphasizes the social interpersonal aspects of recovery by teaching and practicing accountability, grace, and responsibility. And we do that just through our structured environment, through providing peer support to walk alongside them. And where this really kind of all came from is one of the things that we're especially proud of is this year we got all of our homes are certified through the National Association of Recovery Residents. So what that means is MACBO came through. It's the Mental Health and Addiction Certification Board of Oregon. It came through, and we had rigorously reviewed our administrative and operative procedures to get us certified nationally with all of our homes are.
That's a big deal.
Yes, and that leads to the social model of recovery, how we operate, how we run our houses, how we interact with the people that are in our houses, and how we walk alongside them in their journey to recovery.
Is that something that's unique to you?
No, absolutely not. It's a national certification, and there's several other organizations in the state of Oregon that are certified, and it really, my understanding, don't quote me on this, but I think it started on the East Coast and worked its way this way. So.
And how do you find it working for you? Just the whole model for you?
It's in line with what we believe and how we feel, as personal, individual, one-on-one support. So, I mean, it works great for us because this is what we want to do. We want to see people, we consider ourselves to have been successful in our recovery, and we want to pass that on to everybody we can.
But there are multiple pathways to recovery.
There is.
So we work alongside individuals because every individual is uniquely their own person. And, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous might be one person, and Narcotics Anonymous might be another one. Most Excellent Way may be, due to, they're faith-based, or Celebrate Recovery, or Smart Recovery. There's so many pathways to recovery. The goal is sobriety, And
we'll walk alongside them whatever their chosen path is.
Mm-hmm.
You give them 5 months to get somebody who is someone who is a support person. What does that look like for them? Is it someone of an official nature?
So I wouldn't call it official as in treatment or counseling of any sort. It's just another member of the community that's experienced addiction, that is in recovery, that they get to use as basically as a type of counselor, I guess you would say, somebody they can call and talk to work through specific issues, to do the 12 steps, to keep them engaged in recovery.
But there's multiple sponsors. It doesn't have to be AANA. I mean, through like Most Excellent Way, there are individuals that have been going to Most Excellent Way for a long time. And as a participant in Most Excellent Way, you can ask someone there, to walk alongside you. And so it's basically just somebody more in whatever path of recovery you've chosen to be that person. They call them sponsors, and some call them just mentors. Right?
Yeah.
So it's somebody, a majority of them are already engaged either in treatment or mental health counseling, or they might even already have a mentor through the mom's mentor or parent mentor. So, but this is based most on how is you going to sustain your sobriety, whatever that might look like, faith-based, AANA, whatever, but how are you going to sustain it? Because one thing addicts know is if we try to do it on our own, it fails. Yep. It's always going to fail. Because
why is that? Many people might say, why can't you sustain it?
I think that has a lot to do with the brain and the trauma and all this. And there are some that can't. There are some that manage. They just say, I'm done. They never do it again. Just like people who smoke cigarettes, right? They're done. You stop. There's others that, something hits, a trigger is what they call it in the recovery world. So they get triggered by something, and their first thought is, I don't want to feel this. I want to be numb. I don't want to. So, addicts, it's called fight or flight. We're going to go either go get it or we're going to run. And it just is what it is. I mean, I don't think there's any one solution to why that is. I think it is a multitude because everybody's different,
Exactly, and every recovery is different,
yes.
as you're saying. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you receive the people who qualify for your homes? Do they go through a vetting process?
So how we did is, in fact, I just did it today. So we have an opening at one of our women's houses, and every house has a mandatory house meeting date or day set per during the week. So at the Oriole House, it's on Mondays, and so I just sent out what we call bulk email to, I don't even know how many are on there.
More than 150.
Which is a bunch of community partners, all kinds of arenas, and then we also have what we call a wait list. Individuals can call and get on the wait list and or get on our website and send in an application, and then we put them on the wait list, and I make all those calls, and then those individuals will show up on Monday at the time specified to be there for the interview. The house has a say, but they don't have the final vote, okay? And I have my reasons for that. It comes back to us and we look at the need. There might be somebody, let's say, that interviews and they've got 3 months of sobriety. And they just need they need a place to be, but yet they're staying at their sister's, but they're okay, but they just want, their own place. Then you might have, and this is a true scenario, so you might have somebody who's living in their car with their child, and they don't have but 24 hours of sobriety, if that. The need is the young lady that's in shift, she's willing and ready. The young lady that's living in her car with her child needs a spot. So we go by need more so than anything. And like I said, our houses have a say. They do not have the final vote. We look at it and ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes your priority different from others? Because it's not hard and fast. It depends upon what the need is, and you get to determine that.
Yeah, so I don't know that, there's other agencies in town that have the same priority. We're not unique in that aspect. I don't know really how to answer that question. It's pretty simple. If you see a mother living in a car with a child, why wouldn't you make that the priority, right?
Exactly.
So I don't know really how to answer that question.
I think you just did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and the blessing is that we hired somebody a year ago this last April, and Bree is amazing. And so the other individuals she will connect with, and if there's other ones that are, maybe there was another person living out, we work to get them help too. So it doesn't just stop in our who we're bringing in. We work to help anybody that's coming through, and if they they need guidance, direction, resources, support, because it takes a village. Okay, I mean, it takes everyone in this community, in any community, to work together, to put down, I don't know what you'd call it, just put down whatever and come together to work for the individuals that need it.
Yeah, our support doesn't end in our homes. We'll take it out in the community as much as we can.
Yeah.
Did anything happen along the way with all of these that took you by surprise, and anything? With the people or with the process?
I don't think so.
No, I mean,
I think, her years of experience in the field before we opened up these houses, a lot of education behind us starting it. It's not like we just did it blindly. Managing properties, I've been doing that for 25 years. So I know how to manage a property. So it's...
I think if anything, I don't know if you want to call it by surprise, but I can, because of who I am today, and not only just my recovery, but my faith in God, is I can see His hand in everything that has happened. From the first house that just happened to get dropped. I mean, we'd been praying about it. I'd been bugging Him for, and God provides.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you have a vision. You were looking to perhaps the future.
Yes. We really kind of have a two-phase plan. And the first phase of our plan is to open up 8 to 10 houses. And we're looking at 60 to 80 beds to start with. And a lot of that is based on, unfortunately, we are a nonprofit, but it's still a business. It still has to generate income. So we think at around 80 beds, 10 houses, we can be mostly sustainable. Right now, we're really relying and depending on grant funding to keep going. And we've been blessed with a lot of support from the community in that aspect, but we'd like to be able to be sustainable financially.
Is there a time frame for all of this?
Well, pre-COVID, it was 5 years. At COVID, we had to kind of knuckle down and just weather the storm. So I have a new 5-year plan that should, hopefully, if I can maintain that plan, we'll be there in 5 years, easily.
Would any of these homes still remain as a kind of for sake of argument, an 18-month stay, which is what I read on your website?
Yes.
Yeah, that's changed.
Well, it's changed, but that is our model. One of the reasons why we say 18 months is we don't want people to become complacent. When they come to our place, we want them to get in recovery, find employment, become sustainable, family reunification. So sustainable means that they leave our place and get into their own place with their family.
And be ready for it.
And be ready for
long term.
Be ready for long term. The other reason why we're at 18 months is transitional housing, communal living. It's not easy. It's tough. And after a year and a half, people that live in that situation start wanting to leave anyway.
you have somebody that might be there for like 2 years, and they've got their job, they've completed treatment, they've completed probation, they have financially been able to get a car, they went back to school and got a certificate, and their biggest thing is trying to get housed, right? Which, as we all know right now, is not the easiest thing, but they're working towards that. That's their biggest goal. And they are, they've got a sponsor, they're doing their recovery, they're doing all these things, they're ready. And so it's hard having to stay in a home where you've got people coming in maybe not ready, and it's
just starting their journey.
Yeah, and trust me, our homes, that we have amazing individuals in it, and they have a lot of empathy and compassion. Yet it's just like anybody, right? You get to that point, like you're like, why am I not moving forward, or why am I not there yet, or why, I think I'm trying to explain it right.
Yeah, they're just ready to be out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
The community has seen how you've done, and you have many community partners. What do they tell you they'd like to see?
More houses.
And you know, we've been so blessed with the Marion County Commissioners, you know, and they've been a huge asset.
Huge supporters of our program because
Yes.
they see the value in what we're doing. We're adding infrastructure to the community. The houses are owned by Soaring Heights, so Soaring Heights doesn't go away when me and Victoria step away. It's going to continue on and on and on.
Legacy of
Yep.
people that can get help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. That's wonderful. Could you tell us a story that you would like to leave people with about recovery, and is something that symbolizes the beauty of when it works?
Let me tell you one that was just recent. So last November, and this is, I mean, we have a lot that's going on in our communities, and in fact in all of our states with homelessness. There's no perfect solution. Last November, we had a community partner bring us a young lady.
Bold Street Ministries.
Bold Street Ministries, Mr. Matt and Sarah, straight from Wallace Park. She had been in Wallace Park for over 6 years.
Living in tent for 6 years.
I will say when she first got there, she didn't know any of us. You could tell she was scared. We wrapped ourselves around her and our services, and after she was there almost a month, she came to me and Bree both and explained to us that her goal was to be in our house for 2 weeks, and 'cause she was trying to get on SSI because she had some medical issues, which we all of that got taken care of, and she said her goal was to just get on her SSI and go and book. What I will say is that young lady moved into her own apartment recently. She's got a car, her license back. She's doing amazing. She was helping down at one of our community partners. She was volunteering down there for a while. She has helped out with Bold Street Ministries, and she's doing great. And she's just one of many stories.
She ended up staying with us for 6 months.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
7 months.
How many that's wonderful. Excuse me, how many people have actually been through your homes in these years?
We're up to about 180 people have come through our homes.
180 people.
Yes.
And 40 children.
Children returned.
Over
returning
40.
to their
Over 40. It's almost close to 50.
You're kidding.
But it's okay. Yeah.
How can people get in touch with you?
All the information they need to get in touch with us is on our website. Phone numbers, emails, applications, yeah, everything that they need to know to get in touch with us.
And the web address is?
www.soaringheightsrecoveryhomes.com. It's all, I was going to say net, but it's called .com.
Yep.
Yeah. Another beautiful story, if you want to know
Yes.
another one, was last Friday we had, we try to do alumni every year. And last Friday we had an alumni and had individuals from when we first opened in 2018. We had almost between 40 and 50 people showed up. Back up. And mind you, there would have been more. We had a few of them that ended up with COVID lately and other stuff. And then I think there's like 5 or 6 that have moved out of state. And the beauty of it was seeing those individuals that are still continuing to live life, right?
Yep.
And stay in sobriety. And them also connecting with new individuals that are in our homes, that they are able to hear the stories and see the continued success that people can have.
Yeah, once they leave our house, that's not the end.
No, we stay in touch.
We stay in touch with everyone that will allow us to. Yeah, so we're still in touch with well over 100 that have left our house.
Yeah. And I have people call me all the time that are still struggling, and I've had multiple people come back more than one time. And, because, I didn't get it the first time. It took me quite a few times.
Almost 30 years?
Almost 30 years. I was going to do it my way. My way never worked.
Yep.
You two finish each other's sentences sometimes. I love it.
We've known each other for a long time. That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story, yeah.
Oh, it's a wonderful one. Well, I hope this isn't the last time we see you here on InSight. Thank you, Victoria and Eric Rasor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Soaring Heights Recovery Homes.
Thank you for having us. It's a blessing.
And thank you for joining us today on InSight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.